The Dragon team had been going about their business at Capsule Corp ever since Goku, Shin, Beerus, and Whis left for Asgard. Gohan, however, had been tense. Having seen the power of the Asgardians, he knew that something very easily could go wrong. Videl tried to put his mind at ease, but she too felt strange about this whole affair. She had found out that the stories she read as a little girl were true, and if that was the case, then the world of Asgard could be an even more dangerous place than the tales described. Vegeta was in his training room, frustrated that Kakarot had gotten to go and presumably face this for himself. First Jiren, then Broly. More and more, he'd been encountering foes far beyond his own level of power. It frustrated him. He felt himself on a ticking clock to make the most of every second, not to surpass Kakarot. He had long since moved past that as anything other than a simple motivational tool. No, he had to find a way to surpass himself. That was the kind of strength he sought.
Evolution is just the first step. I'll take it further and carve my own way forward. No more mistakes.
Before Vegeta could continue his training, he felt a sudden surge of ki outside that quickly drained to almost zero. With incredible speed, he shot out of the gravity chamber and arrived on the Capsule Corp grounds to find Supreme Kai on the brink of death.
Shin! Oh no. He's in really bad shape.
Go on, go get the Senzu beans. He's been through worse.
Right, I'll be back in a second, hang on.
Can he talk? Who did this to him? Where are the others?
The questions can wait till Gohan gets back. He's in no state to talk.
Yes, of course. Are all these Earthwomen monsters?
Suddenly, Shin saw Vegeta and quickly tried to talk, but fell back just as suddenly. He had no energy left, expended it all in his escape. One that travelled the space between universes. The spells of Asgard still proving too dangerous for a novice like him, but it had worked enough to send a warning back home.
Vegeta, it was a trap. Odin has Goku and Lord Beerus.
Vegeta's eyes lit up in shock. He knew Kakarot could be fool enough to get himself beat. But Beerus? The Saiyan Prince felt the briefest tinge of fear in his body. A few hours passed, and Shin landed on another world once more, dropping to his knees. But this time, he was able to stand up again, tired but uninjured and ready to fight. Behind him, Gohan and Vegeta had their hands on his shoulders, giving the Kai the energy he needed to make such a big jump without any risk of injury.
This is incredible! We're in Asgard! Like, really Asgard!
Oh, this is cute. I never get to see you, fangirl.
Says the man in his superhero costume.
Hey, so are you!
Disgusting. We haven't got time for this flirting. Didn't you listen to what the Kai told us?
Right, we're just breaking the tension. It's still so hard to believe that my dad and Beerus could lose.
It's quite alright, Gohan. I wouldn't have believed either had my escape not let me see it with my own eyes.
Once Shin had been healed with the Senzu beans, he had explained everything that occurred to the group. The spell he used to escape from Loki had been incredibly powerful, but unstable, and initially, he hadn't jumped to Earth. He had in fact teleported to the battlefield when Odin was about to destroy Beerus. Yet just that one jump had left him paralyzed in pain, just a hidden spectator watching a god of destruction and then a Super Saiyan god perish. He feared for his own death at seeing Beerus die, as he was all too aware of the link between them. However, he had never been sure if that applied to Beerus being killed. A god of destruction being defeated was never normally a concern. Still, the method of Odin's attack seemed different from a true Hakai. Not wanting to waste this chance, when he had sufficiently recovered from the initial jump, he harnessed every bit of energy he could, and was sent hurtling through the dimensional barrier, landing in Universe 7, where he was saved by his friends. Shin had informed them all of the situation, and with no time to spare, acting only on a hunch that Goku and Beerus even had the possibility of being alive. Taking Vegeta and Gohan was the obvious move, but Videl had pleaded to come with them. She'd been instrumental in saving Gohan from fall, and with her being the only one with any sort of knowledge of these Norse myths, the group decided that having her would give them at least some advantage against the tricks of Odin.
So, Gohan's wife, where do we find this Thor?
Oh, I don't know, Bulma's husband. Why don't you try that again and use my name?
Just where can we find their base? Does your book tell you?
Say the magic word.
Please.
Oh, no problem, Vegeta. It should be... there's a couple of different interpretations of it, but by the foot of the World Tree. So we just need to find a giant.
By just looking up, the quartet saw the giant tree in the distance, and at its gigantic base, the golden castle of the Allfather.
Well, that was a lot easier than I thought.
Let's get this over with.
Right.
As the four blasted off, Gohan flew back a little, currently staring in awe at his wife.
I've only ever seen Bulma and my mom put Vegeta in his place like that. That was... You're just amazing.
You live with my dad long enough. You know how to deal with big egos. I don't know how Bulma and Chi-Chi cope, but that's why I'm so lucky to have you.
Gohan blushed as Videl kissed him on the cheek, and after a few minutes of flying, they closed in on the main grounds of the castle. Inside the castle, Odin rested in his personal chambers. Beerus had been formidable, and though he was able to score a decisive victory, it had been no easy task. Still, his gamble had paid off. Both the mortal with Ultra Instinct and the most powerful destroyer had been defeated. Luckily, he needn't worry about the angel. After the battle, Whis had simply moved on, disappearing in a flash of light. Odin knew better than to try and pick a fight with someone so powerful, and was preoccupied with thoughts of the end of all things. Of Ragnarok.
Perhaps this can give me the power to change fate, to finally avert our destiny. Destiny is a bigger trickster than you or I, Odin.
Loki sauntered into the room, and Odin felt the last bit of his energy draining already. Dealing with his blood brother was more exhausting than any battle.
Were you able to secure the Kai? No, actually.
Odin was shocked. His eyes flared with rage. How could someone as skilled as Loki fail at what was supposed to be the simplest task?
What are you playing at, Loki? Do you not know what's at stake here? Easy, old father, I'm well aware. Things are still going smoothly. Either the Kai was destroyed in the trip, or he'll bring even more warriors for you. Or he'll bring Zeno and wipe us all from existence. Yes, that is a possibility. I will not see my efforts go to waste for your games. I wonder what Freya would say if she could see you now.
The Allfather almost instinctively raised his hand in front of Loki, ready to destroy him for that comment. It was an old wound, the oldest of wounds. And Odin's either cheery or serious face was now in turmoil. That is, until one of his ravens arrived on his shoulder and whispered into his ear news from across the cosmos.
You are very lucky, as always. The Kai survived, but he's made his way back here, and he's brought the prince. See? It all works out. Prepare for battle, Loki. Be careful not to stand in front of my spear. Yes, All-Father.
The God of Lies had managed to escape with his head once more, and the Asgardians prepared to confront the intruders. The group from the 7th universe arrived at their destination, only to find an army of soldiers waiting for them, with Odin leading the charge.
I believe you're the Prince of Saiyans. Vegeta the... 3rd? 4th. So you can erase the other 3 from your memory, what little of it you have left, I mean. Another talker. What was that?
Odin comically shook his head and let out a very tired sigh as Vegeta shook his fist in anger. He really didn't have the energy for this today, but decided that it would be worthwhile seeing what the prince and his companions brought to the table. Tyr and Loki stepped forward. The army seemed to be well aware that they couldn't change the outcome of this battle. They were merely a ceremonial display, meant to show support to their leaders.
Any info on these guys?
Right. The one on the left is Loki. He's bad news. And the one without an arm is Tyr. He's the god of war, and I think he also has a pet. A horse? No, it was... Oh, a wolf! Yeah, watch out for his wolf. It's supposed to eat the sun in the myths.
Oh, really? Well, now I know who I want to fight.
Well met. I have never encountered such a bold dwarf.
Tyr meant to be gracious, but the insult caused Vegeta to power up instantly, going straight into the Super Saiyan Blue form and charging the warrior with a deadly combination of blows. Meanwhile, Gohan powered up into his own ultimate state, not willing to make any mistakes against such a dangerous foe. Yet Loki simply stood still, aimlessly looking away. Gohan was confused, turning to Supreme Kai for help, with the Kai only being able to warn that any sudden moves could be turned against the Saiyan. If Loki wasn't going to attack, maybe it'd be best to wait until Vegeta had taken care of his foe, stall for all the time they could. Vegeta was overwhelming the one-armed fighter. Tyr was skilled and powerful, but the Saiyan was on a completely different level, and the difference quickly showed. Still, Tyr kept an eye out for any weaknesses, and as Vegeta got a little too comfortable in his advantage, Tyr slammed a headbutt against the prince, knocking them both back, with only Tyr taking any real damage.
You're a fool, but you've got pride, I'll give you that.
Likewise, were this a competition, I'd gladly have fought you alone. However, for the sake of my All-Father, I must not fail. My pride was given away before, and now I shall surrender it once more. To me, Fenris Wolf!
Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to shake, and Vegeta wisely took to the air, as in a split second, a gigantic pair of jaws smashed through the earth, devouring any of the civilians too foolish to move away in time. The beast was beyond comprehension, its paw alone dwarfing an Uzaru, and despite its size, it was fast. Vegeta could hardly raise his guard as he was slammed by a tail swipe into the serene lake that surrounded the castle. Tyr rode upon Fenris's snout. Surrounded by energy, he had raised the pup, and was the one who gave his arm to ensure it would be forever bound to serve Asgard. Now, it was time to unleash centuries of a beast's rage.
Together, old friend, we shall end this Saiyan.
Vegeta emerged from the pool and greeted the pair with a devastating punch to the snout. The giant and the Saiyan's raw strength being pitted against each other as they struggled to see who would budge.
A nice effort, but sacrificing your pride to serve a master will never lead to true strength!
Unleashing the full power of his evolution technique, Vegeta slammed his feet against the bottom of the beast's jaw, unhinging it in a single motion. Then, with a symmetry of power that would make his master Whis weep with joy, Vegeta fired a gigantic Big Bang attack down the monster's gullet. erupting it and Tyr in a fiery blue explosion. Once the dust cleared, Vegeta wiped his brow. The battle was short, but it was definitely intense. Had he not been strategic enough to force them into a head-on strength test, they could have used their superior speed to overwhelm him, killing him before he had a chance to power up. Back on the castle grounds, Odin had been paying close attention to Vegeta's show of power. Indeed, it rivaled Son Goku after all. The Allfather smiled, realizing that with those three added to his arsenal, any doubt of failure would be erased from his plan. Gohan and company, still staying vigilant on Loki, who was yet to move from his spot. This time, he looked to be preparing a bowl of soup with his magic.
This Loki, he has immense power. I don't know why he doesn't use it.
No. Something about this isn't right. Videl said he was the god of lies. He's trying to keep us from figuring out what he's really doing. Wait! Videl!
Gohan turned and placed his hand on his wife's shoulder, only to pass right through it, the illusion fading along with Loki drinking tea. The real Loki stood beside Odin, holding Videl in one hand and charging a blast in the other.
Let her go right now!
Oh, the great Saiyaman indeed. What a sickening sense of entitlement you have.
Gohan, wait! He's trying to provoke you. This creep doesn't scare me. He's all talk.
Oh, really? Is that what your little book tells you?
Yeah, though they should have mentioned how bad your breath is. I can't believe I used to have a crush on you.
Loki sneered at the comment, as Shin and Gohan were tensed up, not knowing what move to make next. Odin, however, had been struck by the mention of a book. He walked over to Loki and picked up the book Videl had dropped in the struggle.
This... young woman, what is this?
It's a kid's storybook. Now tell your goon to let me go.
Freya, you did this, didn't you? You're Valhalla. The true Valhalla.
The deity's false appearance began to crumble as he now looked to be a man in deep mourning. But while he was lost in his own thoughts, Shin and Videl paid close attention to what he was saying.
Valhalla. Yes, I remember. That is the land where the dead are sent. Its description matching nothing like the other world.
So then... Hey! Supreme Kai! Are you sure about that? I need you to be absolutely sure.
Oh, I don't know that absolutely, but it definitely seems like it is a different set of rules for this culture.
Yeah, I think I get it now. Gohan, I need you to trust me right now. And please, don't let yourself lose control. It's going to be okay.
My anger? Videl, wait. What are you doing?
Videl mustered all the speed she could from her training and bit down hard on Loki's arm, causing the god, who was already thoroughly annoyed with this choice of a hostage, to tire of her presence.
Burn, you impudent wench!
A blast encompassed Videl's vision, seemingly reducing her to dust in an instant.
No, that kid. Videl! Videl!
Vegeta had just arrived on the battlefield, only to brace himself as the sudden surge of power emanating from Gohan was enough to push him back. The emergence of a sun-devouring wolf seemed like a child's tantrum compared to the cascade of energy emanating from the hybrid's body. Odin snapped out of his funk as his eyes widened. He had never seen potential like this. Raw, untamed power. Perhaps this boy was actually the champion he had sought. Before he could think further, what was a storm of rage began to flow into a stream of focused hatred. Gohan didn't scream, he just stared right at Loki, closing the distance between them in an instant. Not to the Loki that was in front of him, no. Gohan could tell the decoys apart now. He grabbed the real Loki, hiding in a bush, by the throat, before slamming him down to the ground with enough force to nearly break his back.
I promised not to lose control. I trust my wife. I'm going to trust you to stay right there.
How kind of you.
Vegeta was surprised at the boy's restraint. In his shoes, Loki would probably be dead right now. But he knew the Earthling girl had a spirit. She'd proven that to him. Whatever gave her the confidence to get herself killed had to mean something. In the meantime, with Tyr dead and Loki being held down by Kakarot's boy, it meant Vegeta finally had a chance to challenge the one in charge. Odin stepped forward and readied his spear for battle. Videl blinked, expecting to feel a massive burst of pain, only to be met with nothing. In one moment, her vision was filled with Loki's blast, and in the next, she was in a scenic, snow-covered field, stretching as far as the eye could see.
It worked! I think? Unless this is heaven and I messed up. Oh, Gohan, Pan, I'm so sorry if I got myself killed.
As Videl began to freak out a little at her heavenly surroundings, she quickly spotted something in the distance that alleviated her worries.
Aw, come on, one more time. I swear I can beat you if we go again.
For the last time, Saiyan, we need to find a way out of this damn place. The food here is atrocious.
Verily, I find my stays here to be very annoying for that reason alone.
It's not so bad. Fenris enjoys the kibble. Right, boy?
Fenris Wolf howled happily, the massive hound devouring a mountain-sized bite of dog food before rolling around on its belly, nearly crushing the table had Tyr not lifted him up in time and rubbed his stomach eagerly. Goku, Beerus and Thor arguing while they sat upon a gigantic table in the middle of the field, with the foe Vegeta had just killed. Everything clicked into place as Videl approached the group.
Huh? Oh hey, it's Videl! Hey Videl, did you die too?
Hey, Dad. No, I actually came here to rescue you guys. All of this feels like a twist on what was in the stories. None of us are actually dead.
Oh, neat! Chi-Chi would have killed me if I died again.
How can you be sure, Earthling girl?
It's Videl, actually. All I need to know is one more thing. From you, Thor.
'Tis I, fair maiden. How can I be of assistance?
Take me to the Valkyries.
Thor had taken the trio to where the Valkyries were posted, or rather, where the last Valkyrie stood, at the gates to Valhalla. She was old and frail, yet despite looking like she could die at any moment, her posture remained steadfast. She stood at her post, as if it were her life's purpose. Of course, it was. On the trip to meet her, Videl had asked Thor about all the details, and feeling guilty after finding out his father had interfered in Thor's battle with Goku, the God of Thunder was happy to answer her questions. Long ago, Odin, after eating the divine fruit, built himself a people. They were mortals that he helped achieve godhood, and the wisest of all was Freya. She was the All-Mother, the most powerful wielder of magic in the 9 worlds, and the only one Odin couldn't outsmart. Yet despite being incredibly long-lived, Freya was not a true immortal, and so, no matter how desperately Odin protested, she did not wish for eternal life. Death was not something she feared, and so, she eventually died peacefully, and all of Asgard wept that day. Yet for Odin, his missing eye did not weep. It was planning. From that day on, the All-Father searched desperately for a way to bring his beloved back. Spells, technology, and even using the Dragon Balls of every kind. Yet, for reasons that were unknown to him, it seemed her magic was stronger than each and every method he tried, sealing her soul and otherworld beyond his reach. Odin could not reunite with his wife, who wished to remain in the afterlife. This made the old god very protective of what he still had. And so, he used his knowledge to create his masterpiece. Valhalla, a trap that would grab any souls that attempted to leave Asgard. A perfect spell to prevent death or erasure of any sort, keeping them in a waiting room until Odin needed to summon them again. He would never surrender the souls of his creations to the otherworld again. The Valkyries had been created out of the energy he did manage to recover from Freya, forming them out of fragments of the memory of her power, and ensuring they would capture any warriors he collected that died in his universe. Yet, they were burdened with Freya's willingness to move on, and as the millennia passed, all the Valkyries' energies slowly depleted, one by one, until now, only one fragment of Freya remained.
Hi there. My name is Videl.
The Valkyrie remained silent.
I don't know if you can understand me, or if a part of you even still sees herself as the All-Mother Freya. I've been told your story, what Odin asked you to do, and I get it. You are protecting your children from being taken away from you, giving them chances to do over. I know it can be frustrating, seeing them make the same mistakes over and over. Yet you're still here, guarding these gates. Because no matter how many times things go bad, you still think they deserve a chance to come back and try again. I've got a daughter back home, and it's terrifying. Every day, I'm scared that something bad will happen to her, that I won't be good enough to protect her. But that part of me, I can't let it take control. I won't put my baby in a cage. I won't stop my daughter from facing the world. And I won't let that fear stop me from facing it either. Please, if you care for the people of this universe, like a mother does, you need to give them the chance to make their own path.
Thank you, Videl.
The old woman began to glow in a heavenly light that surrounded and enveloped Videl. The aged Valkyrie began to transform, regaining her youth and emerging as the goddess Freya, or at least an echo of her.
I have been serving my husband's will, not out of servitude, but out of hope that one day someone would ask to leave Valhalla. A being who understood what Odin never could. Please, daughter of Satan, sire woman, I beseech thee, take what remains of my power and save my husband from himself.
Videl emerged from the light as the final Valkyrie of Valhalla, granting her a boost of energy she had never felt before, but one she knew was fading fast. She opened the gates of the afterlife with her new godly infused power with a snap of her fingers, and led Goku, Beerus, and Thor back to the realm of the living. Vegeta tried to move Odin's boot up his neck, but it was to no avail. His strength was leaving his body. The injuries were simply too great. Loki had vanished, and although the rage inside Gohan compelled him to pursue the fiend, the rational side knew that he needed to try and help Vegeta. However, Shin and the Half-Saiyan made little difference against a power like Odin. The Elder God even made sure to destroy Shin's Patara, well aware of the bothersome fusion technique, and the danger that it could cause if the two Saiyans decided to use it.
You have such potential inside you, yet you are content to let it lay dormant. Why?
Some things are more precious than power.
I agree. And now, you will join my warriors in Valhalla, ready to protect them from themselves.
Odin's eyes focused as he prepared to unleash his version of the Hakai.
Get the hell away from my husband!
The final Valkyrie smashed Odin in the side of the face with a faster-than-light dive kick, hurtling the completely shocked deity into the walls of his castle. Vegeta looked up with a grin to see Kakarot, Beerus, and even Thor following Videl's path. The Earthling woman had done it, and not a moment too late.
Hey guys, sorry we had you worried.
While the others caught up, Gohan had only one thing on his mind. He ran up to his wife and grabbed her in a giant bear hug.
I was so worried. I was so scared I'd lost you.
I'm sorry for scaring you like that. I just couldn't think of another way to win. I'd hate to think I made you lose control. I know you hate that.
I managed. I trust you, remember?
The two held each other tightly before Videl eased Gohan enough for him to let her go.
Okay, I think I'm good. So, I'm guessing the new outfit is how you can kick a god through a castle.
Pretty cool, huh? I think I used most of the energy up in that one attack, though. I have no idea how you guys keep it up for so long.
You did better than me and the prince over there. Right, Vegeta?
I loosened him up for her. But, yes, you've done extremely well, Videl.
The Saiyan gave her a thumbs up before turning to Kakarot, Beerus, Thor, and Shin.
You three didn't happen to get healed in the afterlife, did you?
A little, but only for our physical injuries. My energy is still totally drained.
Aye, Valhalla is designed to keep you there to recover for many years. I'm afraid I stand little chance against my father.
How pathetic. I still have my strength. We destroyers aren't kept down so easily. I'll handle him. You mortals just sit back and watch.
Goku grabbed Beerus' arm, staring at the destroyer. The two had been through many battles since their first meeting on King Kai's planet. They had both changed, ever so slightly. Maybe in a way that only they really understood. Beerus stared back at Goku for just a moment, exchanging more with that look than ever could be said with words.
Fine, and just how do you plan to help me?
Surprisingly, it was Vegeta who extremely reluctantly suggested an idea. Odin was in shock. He, by all accounts, had just been hit by a Valkyrie. No, clearly it was the Earthwoman they brought to his kingdom. But the energy, that key, there was no mistaking it. It was Freya's godly power. The last Valkyrie had betrayed him. Even his son Thor now stood with the enemy. Loki was nowhere to be found, hiding like a rat. All his soldiers were vanquished by Vegeta. It was all left to him now, as it had been in the beginning.
I am trying to protect you all! You have no idea how much I've sacrificed. Beerus, the Saiyans, they could have helped stop you from killing yourselves. No matter how many chances I give you, no matter how much I prepare, Ragnarok always comes in the end. I have long searched for the answer, a way to break its long cycle. Well, on this day, I say thee nay. Today, I am Ragnarok. So what say you, Universe 7? What is your answer? Fusion Ha!
Odin was amazed, as before him now stood the most powerful beings in Universe 7. Beerus the Destroyer and Gogeta, the ultimate martial artist.
Fusion? Impossible. Where are your Patara?
Looks like you should have done your homework. There's always more than one version of a technique, old man. Besides, earrings have gone out of style.
You're even more annoying, Fuse. Let's get this over with.
All right, let's do this!
Side by side, the two students of Whis powered up, their auras merging as energy flowed around them.
Very well. Have at thee!
Gogeta took off at full speed, much to the Destroyer's annoyance. The fusion reached Odin faster than he had been expected. Without pausing, the hero landed a spinning kick to his face and began pounding him with punches, pushing through the All-Father's blocks. For the first time in his life, Odin felt the sting of the stronger opponent's blows crash against his arms, but he could stay in control. Odin used his time skip and suddenly caught hold of Gogeta's leg, restraining him until Beerus's knee cracked against the old man's torso, causing his grip on Gogeta to weaken. The destroyer began firing rapid-fire Hakkais, forcing Odin to focus all of his attention on dodging Beerus's attack. Gogeta twisted away, redoubling his own attack. The auras of the two flashed in spirals around the ancient being. The combined barrage of attacks was overwhelming. Though they had never fought before together, they timed their attacks with instinctive precision. One instant, they would attack together, their combined strength blowing past Odin's defensive moves. The next instant, they would alternate attacks in perfect rhythm, wearing his strength down rapidly. He had to constantly change his stance. The techniques he used against one were completely ineffective against the other. Gogeta was faster and more powerful, but the danger Beerus posed with his mastery of destruction energy was even greater.
You're nothing but a copycat. You can study my attacks all you want. Your attempt to copy my Hakkai is pathetic next to the real thing.
I bet I could do it better if I tried.
You shut up!
It was taking everything Odin had to stay alive. Although the two fighters were tremendous warriors individually, it was their rivalry that made their alliance so effective. Each gave his all in an effort to outdo the other. Each pushed himself to the limits of his abilities. Beerus, however, began to falter. He'd been drained more by being sent to Valhalla than he had let on, and going at this intensity for the first time in eons was taking its toll. Odin recognized this, and with a flash in his eye, used the technique of Universe 11's Jiren to send Beerus hurtling to the ground with a rapid barrage of attacks. The destroyer crashed to the soil, leaving a crater that destroyed Odin's castle, and left the god incapacitated.
That was a dirty trick. Don't you have any original moves? Or did you just spend all these years crying on your throne?
You have no idea what I'm trying to do here. With your power, together we could prevent my children from destroying each other. Countless wars, again and again. Every time I bring them back, no matter how many times I prepare, they always destroy each other. I am trying to save my children, you fool!
No, you're just trying to control them. Kakarot heard what happened to your wife. You tried to control her too, and she left you for it. Cry me a river.
You insolent, arrogant fool!
Odin's staff glowed with power as light from Asgard began to funnel into it. All the beings of Asgard had died at some point, and then were revived by Odin. This had happened naturally and from war, over eons. Now, Odin was taking that power back. But not just Asgard, all of the 9 worlds of this universe. Every life form, their souls left their bodies and funneled back into Odin's staff. Thor looked up, feeling the last of his life leave his drained body, shocked at what his father had become, a warrior even more brutal than himself. Even Loki, who had moved to a spectator position, was powerless as his energy was drained to zero by Odin. He had never seen Odin push this far. The calm, funny, carefree, wise god had returned to the anger of his youth. A savage warrior who sought knowledge for knowledge's sake.
Some protector you turned out to be. What kind of god does that to his own people?
I am well aware of the limits of mortal fusion, no matter their method. So tell me, how much time do you have left to stop this?
A universal-sized blast emerged from Odin's spear in the shape of a giant serpent. This was his ultimate attack, with enough crazed power to rip his entire creation to shreds.
That thing's gigantic! Fine, right back at ya! Big Bang Kamehameha!
The beams illuminated the black universe and made it shine with the light of a chaotic rainbow. Gogeta's beam was incredible for any mortal. but even it paled next to the sheer scale of Odin's World Serpent attack. He was losing ground, fast, and a fear creeped into the fusion's mind that maybe he would defuse before he could even try his full power.
Gogeta, don't hold back! We're with you!
Supreme Kai? Wait, everyone, you guys are...
Gohan, Videl, and Shin were pouring their energy into their own attack, firing at Odin's back. The Kai was even using his magic to try his best to hold the god, even for a fraction of a second.
Don't count out
The champions of justice!
the Great Saiyaman!
And the great Saiyawoman!
And I too am here to help!
Gogeta smiled. Together, those three had given him just a moment, just an instant, to push himself that extra step.
But the trickiest part was coming up with a name. Let's try it anyway. Kaioken Evolution!
Gogeta's aura erupted in an explosion of purple, his beam rapidly challenging Odin's own attack. But just as it seemed the two were stuck in an equal clash,
Don't you dare count me out! You've really pissed me off!
Beerus, having recovered as much as he could, threw one last ball of her Kai energy towards Odin's beam, erasing the World Serpent in a burst of purple light. With nothing to clash against, Gogeta's attack spiraled towards Odin, leaving the warrior no time to react as the gigantic wave of energy flowed over him.
No more tricks, blood brother.
Loki! No! I can beat this!
Our time is over, Father. Let go.
Oh, please. I can save you, son. I can save everyone.
My love, you don't need to fight any longer.
Be they the souls of the people he was harnessing, or simply a figment of his broken spirit, was only for Odin to know. The god dropped his weapon and accepted his fate inside the gigantic energy wave. The light of Gogeta's attack was said to be so bright that even other universes could see a rainbow in the sky that night. The fusion fell to the ground, diffusing just before he hit the floor. Everyone was exhausted, but thankful that finally the battle seemed to be over.
Oh, how good to see you all alive! I just had the most delightful trip tasting the foods of this universe. I hope I didn't miss anything important?
Whis, just take us home.
Of course, my lord. At once.
Odin opened his eyes, expecting to see nothing, but instead, he was greeted by something even less expected. His family, his people, every single soul of the 9 worlds in Valhalla, as it slowly began to fade away. He had been killed, and so the realm he had created was falling apart.
You finally learned to accept things outside of your control. I always hoped to see you again, my love. I regret that I did not foresee how bloody stubborn you would be before you got here. I am sorry I caused you such pain.
Freya, your soul was lost. I thought forever.
I did not wish to be found. Not by the man you became. I hope these events have brought back the one I fell in love with.
Well, it's lucky I decided to give the mortals a few hints and guides along the way. We've all been quite awful to each other. This is all your fault, Freya.
You wanted this, didn't you, Loki? That's why you sent Thor to Earth.
Maybe. Or maybe this was always how things were meant to go.
Father, Valhalla cannot be maintained anymore. Without the Valkyries, without you, the spell preventing us from entering the other world will fade. But while we are all here, we can return to the living one more time.
It's your choice, my love. You gave us all this chance. Despite the mistakes you've made along the way, I will follow you in whatever path you choose. This time, I will not leave you to suffer alone.
This blasted eye. Always leaking. Damn thing.
So, Allfather, what is the fate of the 9 worlds?
Odin thought about it for a very, very long time. And finally, gave his answer. Back on Earth, some time had passed since the events of Asgard. Goku and Vegeta resumed their training. Their reliance on fusion in the last 2 battles was something that bothered them both, and so they vowed to only fuse again once they reached a new milestone in their paths. Beerus had been grumpy, but a delicious pizza was enough to cheer him up. He didn't speak to Whis about what happened, but the angel could see, when Beerus thought he wasn't looking, that the lazy god had started training again. A smile on his face after getting a taste of a true life and death battle. And maybe just a little more respect for the Saiyans. Though this wouldn't last long, as soon news of an escape from a galactic patrol prison would reach the Earth.
You still kept it, huh?
Of course! I couldn't stop thinking about what Odin said. When he saw the book, he mentioned Freya. These stories had to end up on Earth somehow. Maybe she was trying to make her family live on too, in a different way.
Well, either way, I've gotta say, we should have tried this sooner. I've never seen her sleep so well.
She really loves these stories. Our baby girl might just grow up to be another Valkyrie.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for staying until the end of this Dragon Ball What If. Norse Dragon Ball has been a passion project of mine, and finally getting to wrap it up and show the full story to you all has been a dream come true. My hope is that in future, whenever you're going through your Dragon Ball rewatches and you finish the Broly movie, you'll watch this and consider it part of your own personal headcanon. Well, at least I will. I may return to these characters in future. There are 9 whole other worlds we didn't even show, but for now, this is the end of the Asgardian story in Dragon Ball. But the biggest project Geeks for Fun has ever done is coming right after the week this goes public, so make sure you stick around for this teaser for Echoes of the Night.
It's the city. There's just so much chaos just bubbling under the surface.
It's like you say, there isn't a soul in Gotham who keeps controlling the city.
It isn't human. I heard it from Bill that it took out 7 guys last week.
Wait, what? What is that thing?
I have heard tales of a Batman from Gotham.
Never seen anything move like that.
A man-beast who strikes from the shadows with uncanny skill.
Get the hell away from me!
You're not going to die. Your soul is another matter.
Can you believe the people in this town?